say you got plenty of money in there, but if you have no money.
We've got another day to do this.
No, I just
Yeah,
asked.
yeah. We've got about 10 more to do after today.
Okay, all right, man, sir. Yes, sir, thank you.
Uh-huh.
But it's still.
Present yesterday.
All right, we're ready to get started. I apologize for my tardiness today. Had a school group here this morning. We were waiting on a picture with the governor, so got that done. I'm out of breath. I ran up 3 flights of stairs. Yeah, well, I don't have any old football injuries. Yeah. All right, Representative Green.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come today. We come thanking you for the many blessings that thou hast given to us. And Lord, we just give you the honor and the glory that is due you. And Father, help us in our deliberations that we may make the right decisions for the people of the state of Georgia. Bless us now, Father, forgiving us of our sins and shortcomings. In thy holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Well, my vice chair is not here. Chairman Green, would you come over here and assume the chair seat? I need to.
Do that, Mr. Chair. Just assume.
All right. I'm going to go out there to the podium.
How many you going to do? I'll take a motion that we adjourn.
That would be good.
I haven't recognized you yet.
Excuse me.
All right. The first bill we're going to do is House Bill 195. And Chairman Benton, if you'll, the mic is on at the podium now, if you'll explain that
All right.
to us,
Thank
please.
you, Mr. Chair. This bill was brought to us by the Georgia Firefighters Pension Fund, and it basically does one thing, and that is to raise the benefits that are payable from what is now $5,000 to $10,000. And in starting on line 14, actually it's line 16, where there are multiple beneficiaries, that money would be split up equally. On down to 24, it talks about how these benefits can be how they'll be divided up among multiple benefits. It is something that the firefighters say that they feel like is a good benefit for their members, and I would appreciate a affirmative vote on this. Firefighters are here today. If you want to get them to speak, be glad to answer any questions. If I can't, he will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have a question for members here. Who's number 10? Oh, Chairman Martin.
Chairman, if you're ready to move, no disrespect to the firefighters that are here that might want to talk to us, but I think the chairman's done a fine job. I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay. We still have another member. Oh, you go second. Okay. In all fairness, I would ask that we hear from the firefighters.
Yeah.
I think I wasn't trying to cut him off. I just think he
No,
got
I
a
know.
winner. Don't talk yourself out of a winner.
Well, thanks to the whole committee for coming out here today and letting us talk here. as the chairman stated, it's simply, this is a death benefit for our members who have not yet vested. So that would include, pretty much anybody who passes away, some of whom are in the line of duty, some who are not, for various reasons. But the original $5,000, I believe, started in 2001, and I think it's hard to see what the reasoning was for that number. But if you look at it, that was about the cost of a funeral back in the day. Charges have not gone up since, have gone up since, and so this kind of puts us in line. We get generally about. So, and I Representative Bentley, I imagine, will have something to say on the funeral issue. Yeah, but this will sort of, you can't say for sure it's funeral, but look at inflation since we're here 18 years later, and we feel it's appropriate. We don't feel it will be overly costly to the fund, and we'd appreciate it going to study to make sure we can afford it. It has the full support of the fire service.
All right. You said the magic word just a moment ago and got the attention of someone, and that was funeral. Representative Bentley, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for you. Thank you for presenting this bill, Mr. Chairman. I have to inquire about assignments. And you're right, funeral cost has increased over the years. And 5,000 is, things have really changed over the years, that's what I must say. But in terms of assignments, is there anything in this bill relating to assignments to ensure that the funeral homes can get paid once a service is scheduled?
This is not a designated for funeral service only.
Okay.
This is a death benefit, but we do have a bill out there that's sitting in Senate Rules, House Bill 319.
319.
And that one establishes the estate of the deceased firefighter as a potential recipient. So if that were the case, that would allow funeral homes, if and that only happens if they've not selected a beneficiary, or if the beneficiary they've selected has predeceased them. But that's one that I would, in theory, offers an opportunity for creditors, the normal probate process, and to get that through.
And I just want to quickly share, if I may, Mr. Chairman, just so everybody understand why I be pushing for assignments, because it's not that the funeral homes are trying to take all of the money from the family. We just want to make sure that we get paid for the service that we render. And oftentimes when these benefits, all of the benefits go to the family, sometimes, unfortunately, those benefits don't make their way to the funeral home. But when an assignment is accepted, that's a sure way that the funeral homes get paid. So that's why I'm constantly pushing for assignments. But thank you, and I will support the bill.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks.
Any other questions, Mr. Chairman? All right, we've got a motion and second on the floor already. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Apologize for running a little late, but
That's all right. I was too.
all right, which next bill?
292.
292, House Bill 292. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 292 is a bill that was drawn up at the request of several groups and several members of the House, but its origin goes back to I really don't want to use the word controversy, but I guess that's what it is, about payments from the Board of Regents to the teacher retirement system. It made the newspapers big time last month, and so this bill was introduced just to have an actuarial study done to see what the true numbers are, if any money is owed, and so forth. So that's the gist of the bill, and I would appreciate an affirmative vote on this one as well.
Gets to be the time. What are you, 15?
I'd like to make a motion, we do pass.
Got a motion to do pass. Is there a second? Second.
Was there anybody that wanted to speak on this?
Any
Got a
questions?
question? Send to actuary, yes. You're correct. It's the motion to send to
Send,
actuary. You wanna
correct.
amend your motion?
Yes, I'd like to amend my
Yeah.
motion, we send it to actuary
And,
Okay,
all
for
right,
review.
all right.
all right.
You've
Yes.
got one person that wanted to speak. She came in late after we
All right.
started. Come on.
Pardon me, I'm Margaret Chickrelli from Page, representing about 95,000 educators across the state. And just wanted to thank the chairman for bringing the bill and say we support it. Don't thank you. I think we'll let you get back to your voting and appreciate your positive support. Thank you.
All right. We have a motion to send to actuary and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Looks like takes us to 67.
No, we need to, you know,
Oh, 390.
let's do 290 first. We were waiting on somebody that wanted to speak on the bill, so.
390.
He's in a 390.
390. All right. House Bill 390. Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Chairman, this is a bill that I brought a couple of years ago. We have, from time to time, teachers that render service teaching that are members of teacher retirement, but the service that they rendered was not in the state of Georgia. It was out, in this case, it's outside the country, and this would allow for someone that is taught in an American school overseas. They're teaching American children, but they happen to be teaching overseas. The chance to buy 2 years of credible service. Now, they might not need but one, but 2 is all they would be able to buy. They have to have taught in a school that is accredited by a recognized regional, national, or international body of accreditation. It'd be kind of like SACS here in Georgia and in this country. But they have to have at least 5 members of they have to have 5 years of membership in teacher retirement before they can do this. They can buy up to 24 months of credible service, and it is to buy it at full actuarial value. Now, we already have a bill that is sitting in rules that would require this, but since I've been a member of the retirement committee, I don't think we've ever passed out a piece of legislation that was not full actuarial value on anybody wanting to buy a years in retirement. They would pay to the board of trustees an amount determined by the board to full actual cost of granting the credible service. They must do it within 10 years after completing that service, and they are only able to apply once. Be glad to answer any questions.
Well, you do have a question. Number 7, is that Representative Butler?
Thank you. This is just a question. On our military installations, there was a question, and this came up for me because of Fort Benning, that we have teachers that teach on the military installations, and then they or the spouse, well, it'd be the spouse, gets out of service and they settle in Georgia and want the credible service that they had teaching around the country and those to count towards their retirement. Did we ever address that, and would this in any way, because this says international, but
I guess we would need, if from teacher retirement, if you want to come up in.
because I think when I think about this international, it made me think about
I know that you come over. We come on over to the microphone because we're on air here.
We will calculate any like Department of Defense schools overseas, like Germany or wherever they're teaching.
We do that already.
And if they are teaching at a Department of Defense school in the United States proper,
Same.
same.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I just, this is a good idea. I just wanted to make sure that we were taking care of those that were in service to us at our military installations or Department of Defense installations
We don't
as
have
well.
many, but
Right.
we do.
Okay. Yeah, usually they go the other way.
All right, Representative Martin, number 10.
Just a question, and maybe we shouldn't get into the details because, gentlemen, Chairman's just looking for actual study to get into the what ifs of the bill later on, so I won't do that. But the teachers teaching at a military school in the States are working for the Department of Defense, correct?
Correct.
Or are they not on some sort of a pension plan or a retirement plan while they're working there?
I'm not sure about that, but we will. We
can
treat
find
it like
out.
out of
Okay.
state service, and they can buy back after 6 years teaching in Georgia, a year, and up to 10 years for each year after that. But no, I don't know about whether or not they have their own pension plan.
Okay.
Any more questions? What's the will of the committee on House Bill 390? The motion to send to actuary? Got a motion to send to actuary study. Is there a second? Second. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna go on, we can go to 67. He's not here yet.
All right. House Bill 67, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 67 is a bill that was brought 2 years ago, and it got over to the Senate and died over there last year, and so we have brought this back. It is legislative retirement, and this is one of those things that I guess there's a hesitancy about bringing up anything where we as members of the legislature might benefit. But I want to point out that legislative retirement is funded by the people that are members of it. I'm not sure how much the state puts in, but right now we put in 7.5% of our salary if you're a member of the legislative retirement. And this is when you first are elected, you're given the offer of joining the retirement system, and I believe that we fixed this several years ago where if you don't take it then you're not eligible to take it after you've been here. In other words, you think, well, I won't be here for 8 years, but then you're here for 8 years and then 10 years, and you decide, well, maybe that legislative retirement sounded pretty good right then. But what we're doing on the second page, line 31, we're increasing the members' membership contribution from 7.5% to 9.5%. And as we go through the bill, I'll explain why we're doing that. People that have been in the military, we have a section in there on Section 3 that they pay 7%. And then in Section 4, we tell when you can draw this, at what age. We have a lot of people that have more than 8 years of service, but they're waiting on to get to the magic age in order to be able to draw the retirement. We do require that you have 8 years of credible service, that you are not vested until then. That's 4 terms. That's also stated in the bill. And then we are raising the monthly allowance. Right now it is $28 in code to $50. So a person that has been a member of the legislature for 10 years, you would simply multiply the 10 times 50, and that would give you your monthly benefit. So there are some people that stand to gain tremendously on this, and others not so much. But we think it's fair that this is something that we as legislators know the salary that we're going to get when we're elected, and I don't hear too don't hear too many complaints about that, but I think that after we leave, that this is something that we as a legislature can do for the people that have served for a good while and have vested in the system and have retired and have attained the age. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions for the chairman? What number? 17?
Anything with this yellow page on it's going to us for actuary
Yes.
study? Okay, thank you.
You got a question?
Slow the committee down,
That's all right.
because this is current law. I'm just not familiar with the retirement. On lines 54 through 57, it says who has attained age 65 and completed 8 or more credible years, or has attained age 62 and has completed 8 or more years of membership. I got you, as opposed to the credible service. I understand. I'm sure the difference, I'll look at the difference between credible service and membership.
Would, on lines 23 where we finally define term of office, would that affect that credible years of service wording? Because this is a perfect year because a freshman this year who serves for 4 terms will not make it to 8 years if they don't serve more than 4. They'll be a few days short. That's why the change on 23 was put in there when we went through this 2 years ago to clarify that, so people wouldn't be 2 or 3 days short of 8 years when they use 4 terms. And that may be something, I don't know if it'll affect, I guess it would affect the actuary data that we might need to make sure that we're saying the same thing on line 55.
Okay, the executive director is here. If you'd like to come up and answer.
So I know you and I personally have had conversations about this in the past. It is my opinion that the definition of term of office is going to accomplish what it is that you're looking for to prevent the person who comes up a few days or a week short from losing out because they didn't quite make the 8 years. And the reason that I'm saying that is I think that's the way lines 55 and lines 59 and 60 work together. So 55 calls for the 8 years of creditable service, but 59 and 60 do provide for an exception if you have the 4 terms of office, with the term of office then being referenced back to line 23 through 26. I think that is what's going to cover what you're talking about.
Okay,
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
I thought so, but thank you.
Mr. Executive Director, again, not to belabor the point, on 55 and 56, one says 62 and 8 years of credible service. The other one says 62 and 8 years of membership. What's the difference between credible service and membership?
So membership service is service where you're actually serving, like you're here working. Credible service could include types of service where you've been able to make a transfer or a purchase in. That may be old provisions. I'm not aware of any current things that you can do along those lines, but that's what we're talking about. Membership is actually being here, working. Creditable service would be if there were occasions where you could have gained service from any other example. Okay, yeah, military service.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, I'm trying to think of a place where it could. I guess current Congressman Doug Collins was elected, and then shortly after his election went to serve in the Gulf. And I think he was gone for perhaps a year, maybe.
That would be a good
little bit longer.
example.
So that would have fallen into that category.
Right, where
Even though he would have credible service here too, still elected. I'm just trying to educate myself. I don't want to slow the.
So it would fall under the creditable service definition, but it wouldn't count as membership service per se.
Okay. Fair enough.
Right now, it's 0. There's no current state appropriation required for the LRS. It's well-funded over 100%.
Representative Green has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, you just answered one of my questions in regard to the funding portion there. And this would not include any retired legislators, right, going forth?
You mean currently retired legislators?
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
my understanding, right? You'd have to be active at some point after
Active, yes.
the effective date of the bill.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, line, contributing member after July 1, 2020.
That's
Okay.
right.
Any other questions? What's the will of the committee on this? Got a motion to move to actuary study. Is there a second? We got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Nope, one vote no.
Okay, members of the committee, we're gonna hear two more bills. We've got, House Bill 589 and House Bill 652. They are both Sheriff's Retirement Fund of Georgia. And we're gonna hear both bills, but after speaking with Legislative Counsel, I think maybe that what we might want to do is combine these two bills to just make them one. And so Representative Kirby.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I've got both of them. I know Representative Williams is here as well. But on House Bill 589, this is the same bill that we introduced 2 years ago. What this will do is raise the death benefit for our sheriffs by $10,000. We got hung up in rules last year. I'm going to editorialize a little bit. Sadly, it only raises it $25,000. I still think that's a low amount, but it is something that I think we can do for our sheriffs, and it really is that simple.
Okay.
You know, we can add to it with Representative Williams' bill if you want to join in and go from there. So
Okay.
however you want to proceed.
All right, go ahead.
All right, on House Bill 652, the language on the life insurance increase is exactly the same. What 652 does, it changes the collection in civil action from $1 to $3. It's going to help fund this portion and cover the cost of any increase into that fund as well. So that's kind of what the two bills do, the same, and just one adds more to it. And we got the head of the Sheriff Association with us, Terry Norris, if he wants to add to it.
Sheriff Association, would you like to come up and talk to us for a minute? Yes, sir. Do you have any objection with us combining the two bills? Okay. Is there anything else that, let's see, Representative Tarvin?
I just want to say that since we're voting on these together, I would have been a no on 652 and a yes on 589. But both are going to a study. Is that correct?
That would be the will of the committee.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And the actuary data should be exactly the same for both of them because the increase from $1 to $3 would not change.
Well, that's what I'm opposed to, not the actuary study. So I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
I defer to council, but I'm correct. If we sent just 589 to actuary study, it would be the same if the actuary data would be the same for both bills. Funding, okay.
Chairman Martin.
I know we're not here to debate the merits of the bills today, but as I was sharing with Chairman Benton, if we combine the two bills, this is a question to both the combined authors and to Legislative Council, if the chair will allow it. If we combine these two and come back with an actual number of X, as long as whatever happens to the bills as we move them through next session is cost less than X, we can do it. Is that not true, Mr. Lanier? If the so my question, again, going to Representative Kirby's point of, I wish it could have been more than 25,000. Again, that's a policy matter for the legislature to debate. But I would suggest if the chair would allow that we amend, if we combine them as part of that amendment, that we, where's the fee? The fee on line 12. I would suggest that we do the actual study on moving the fee to $2, which would make the total cost more because we would raise less money and it would cost the same. And then we know how much we would raise. If we raised $100 by going up $1, we'd know if we went up $2, we'd raise $200. And it would make the cost of the bill more. And if later on you wanted to move the cost up to $3, then you would have room to do that and go higher than 25,000 if policy allowed us to go in that direction. Just to give both the authors the flexibility, I think.
And I understand what you're saying, but as I understand it, that may be backwards. Where this takes the fiscal note that we'll get on the actuary data on mine without the cost being in there is saying, here's what the state's going to have to pony up to make this happen. If we take this fee and increase it, it would lower the state amount, so it's going to have the reverse effect on.
I know it's going if we.
Correct. Am I saying that backwards or forward? She's back here. I hear her back here.
The funding would still not come from the state. It would still have to come from the
Right.
fines and fees that the fund is generating.
So if there's any,
as well as member contributions.
so if there's any state funding, it was the same both ways, and
Well,
this
there
is
would
not supposed to be.
This fund does not receive any state funding.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just trying to help the measure out. If that's not, I just want to give the gentleman the flexibility that if a policy discussion can have it that it would be greater than 25,000, that we would be able to do that. If my suggestion doesn't do that, I certainly don't want to hurt the measure. I just wanted to try to give Mr. Kirby the flexibility and the Sheriff's Association the flexibility to make their case for the number being higher than 25,000. These folks do good work for us. They're out there every day, and they deserve everything that we can fiscally provide.
Okay, Representative Kirby?
I'm fine with that. She says Chairman Martin's got it right, so.
Okay. All right, Representative Buckner.
Yeah, there's once a year. I'm right.
Wait just a second.
Because our sheriff in Muskogee County would be glad to be included in this.
Okay. Representative Tarvin.
And after me, her light doesn't work, and she's got to, now, make sure I'm not making a mistake. So we're right now is $1 being charged in these civil cases, right?
Yes.
And we're gonna move it to 3. Or 2, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that money goes to sheriff's retirement.
Yes.
So if it's 2, it's increased to 2, and if it's 3, it's increased. All the money goes to sheriff's retirement, right? Thank you.
All right. Oh, Ms. Bentley. Does this have anything to do with the funeral industry?
Oh, of course it does. Of course it does. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for the work on this bill. Two quick questions. How long has this? I'm glad that we're raising it from 15 to 25,000. I'm just curious to know how long has it been 15,000? The death benefit in Bill 589.
I don't know exactly when the law went into
Okay.
effect, but over 25 plus years.
Okay. Okay, well, great that we're increasing it. But I must ask my usual question. Does the Sheriff Association, do they accept assignments? Somebody pass away, and will they accept an assignment from a funeral home?
They sign me to come to this Capitol every year.
Oh.
No, ma'am, we don't, it is an interim. Sure, come up there, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, come on. They know you're not gonna let them down wrong, Pam.
Is it not true that this is not the only benefit that most sheriffs would have as far as life insurance? Don't most counties have
Either through the county, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, because I was gonna ask that, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Mhm.
As far as assignments, no ma'am, there is no assignments within this bill for a family to use death benefits for that purpose.
Nobody carries an assignment. I need to have a bill with assignments or something. Okay, thank you, thank you.
We'll be glad to entertain that next year, in some committee. Yeah, yeah, committee on assignments, yeah. Does anyone else have a question for, for Representative Kirby? Anyone have any questions about, the sheriff, from the sheriff's, representative? Do either one of y'all have any other comments you'd like to make before? I'm going to ask for a motion, one, that we combine the two bills, and once we do that, then I'm going to see if anybody wants to amend the bill to change the amount to $2. And I wanted to make sure that if we do that, that we understand why we're dropping it from 3 to 2 and the reasoning behind that. So,
Mr.
yes,
If I
sir.
may?
Yes, sir.
Just a little bit of history about the Sheriff's Retirement Fund of Georgia. It is strictly for the elected sheriffs, as was stated. There are currently 206 active retired sheriffs. The average monthly retirement benefit for a sheriff in our state as of this moment is $2,593 and some change. The fund paid out in the month of March of 2019 $534,176.25. The fund total as of February of 19 was $93,607,000 and some change. We take in annually about $2 million from the courts. And in fiscal year 18, $535,000 of that $2 million came from the $1 civil filing fee. We are in the hole annually about $5 million that we have to go into investments to pay the benefits. So this addition of $2, which all goes into the fund, will help offset that deficit, which will keep us going into the investment side. So that's sort of the long and short of it.
Do you have any misgivings about us reducing the amount from 3 to 2?
3 will certainly help more than 2. Math there.
Representative Martin.
I'm not suggesting, everybody to be clear here, that the 3 wouldn't be the bill that passed. What I'm trying to do is get you an actuarial study back that costs an amount such that what you want to do will cost less than that, so Chairman Benton's committee will be able to act on it. Perhaps a more straightforward way, Mr. Chairman, would be that if the chair likes and if Representative Kirby likes, that you just take the benefit from 25 up higher to get what that actual number would cost. You can always reduce that based on the cost of it going forward. I'm just trying to put the gentleman in a position. He said in his initial presentation he wished it could have been more than 25. I'm trying to give him the flexibility when the actuarial study comes back to make his case, his policy case, to do that. Real easy back of the envelope math is if you raise 535 with $1, you're going to raise $1,070,000 with the extra $2. I mean, I hope we don't pay anybody a lot of money to figure that one out. The actuaries do a lot. But so I'll go. I'm just trying to put you in a position, Representative, to make your case if the number should be higher, and I'll leave it said. Not suggesting we don't do the 3, just that we do actual study on less.
Okay. Wait a minute. Speak into the mic.
If we do the actuarial study at one level and then we want to change the bill, will we have to send it back for another study to make it match the bill?
I
So
would
that
think if
could-
we come down, that you wouldn't have to, but if you go up,
That's
you would
why-
have to.
You would have to, send it back to for an actuarial study if
That's what I
there's a
thought.
reduction in cost. The only reason you don't have to send it back is if the to the original bill that was studied doesn't result in any change in the cost.
That's what I thought. And we've been saying that if it was a reduction, you didn't, but I thought it had to be accurate for every bill, or as close as possible. Didn't matter whether it was too much or too little.
All right, Representative Martin.
My point, and correct from the audit, so the question is, if we do we don't have to have an actuarial study by a certain date that we then cannot exceed that cost? I'm not suggesting that we don't have to send it back. I'm suggesting that and again, I'm new to the committee, but my information is that when we do an actuarial study as of a certain date, we can't get into legislative session and make it cost more than that. So I'm not suggesting that an actuarial study wouldn't have to be done to ratchet down. I'm suggesting that if Representative Kirby comes back in the next year's session and he has the policy argument to make it 30,000, but that costs more than the actuarial service, by what date is it that it?
So by law, the actuarial investigations have to be completed by November 1st.
So if we have a number that costs more than an actuarial study done by November 1st, we could not by law do that. So I'm just trying to give him the flexibility. I know we would have to get a study. I'm just saying that his study can't be more than the one that was on record as actuarial first. So I didn't articulate that
If we have
clearly.
a higher cost and we reduce it, do we have to send it back again?
Yes, sir, you would have to.
But you can do it. We do that all the time during the session. Do we not?
Yes, sir.
I mean, every time an LC number changes, you have to go back for another fiscal note or an
There
actuarial
would
study.
be time to get another actuarial investigation.
As long as the one's done by November 1st, we could still do it.
And you
if
don't
it
exceed the
changes
value
during
of
the
that.
session.
Yes, sir.
I'm fine with that as long as it's,
Well, I'll leave that to y'all. Obviously.
main thing is get our sheriffs taken care of. That's what we're trying to
We're
do.
looking at wanting to raise it to 15 to.
However that works the best, I'm for.
He needs to decide what he wants to do.
Oh. Okay. Is there anyone else that has a comment on this? I want to make sure that we are on firm actuarial ground when we do this. I want to make sure that we can get this done at the figure that, at least the figure that they're asking for. So, the first motion that I need is a motion to combine House Bill 652 and House Bill 589.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I looked at it as closely as I can, and I don't see anything that is in 589 that's not already in 652.
Okay.
I think the section 1 in 589 is duplicated as section 2 in 652.
So 652 is encompassing both of them. Okay. All right. So we won't need that motion then. We have 652. Yes, we will to go to actuarial study. But we don't have the amount of, yes, we do. I see it now, 25,000. Okay. I didn't remember seeing that in there. Okay. All right. So we are looking to set aside 589, and I need a motion on 652.
Okay, so
Representative LaRicchia.
House Bill 652,
Yes.
an actuarial study on House Bill
On
652.
652. We have a motion and a second. All right. Now, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on this? Right now is the time to offer amendments if you so want to. Representative Tarvin.
Excuse me, I don't want to add an amendment, but
Okay.
if this comes back from actuarial study, then it has to come back through the committee.
Yes, we vote on it again, yes.
Thank you.
So we need to look at the $2, $3 amendment before we vote the bill out to actuaries, don't we?
Yeah, but we're not voting on that. We've got a motion to vote it out. Now we're gonna take amendments on the bill if we so desire. Chairman Martin.
Mr. Chairman, I think it accomplishes the same task. It might be simpler for everybody. It certainly is for me to get my hand around. If the gentleman doesn't think it hurts his proposition, I would move to amend line 56, striking 25,000, and replacing it with 35,000. And with the same on line 59, striking 25,000 and 35,000. That gives the gentleman room. We may be back on, well, that would be my motion, Mr. Chairman, to change those two numbers. That'll give us a larger actuarial number and give the gentleman room to make his policy argument at the appropriate time.
All right, we have an amendment that's found on lines 56 and 59. We're changing the number 25,000 to 35,000. Representative Kirby, do you have a?
I am fine with that. Yes, sir.
Okay. We have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. Do I have any other discussion on the amount being raised?
I'm good, yeah. It's really his bill now that we're working on, so
Yeah.
he ought to be up here.
So, do we have any other discussion on raising this limit from 25 to 35? We're raising it from 15 to 35.
Correct.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of that amendment, if you would raise your hand. The amendment passes. Chairman Martin, were you wanting to change the $3 now, or you want to leave that the way it is?
No, sir, I was just trying to give the gentleman room. I think we'd be fine. I think that's a more straightforward way to give
Okay.
actuarial
So
room.
we're gonna leave the number 3 there, okay? Are there any other discussion on House Bill 652? We have a motion to send to the actuaries. We have a second. We have an amendment, so I'll need the motion to be as amended. When someone wants to make that, I'll accept that now.
Move to actuarial study the bill 652 as amended.
All right, we have a motion to send House Bill 652 to the actuary as amended, and that amendment is to $35,000. Any other question? Representative Martin, you have something else, sir? Oh, I'm sorry, okay, all right. We have the motion on the table, we have a second. All those in favor of the motion, if you would, raise your hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay. So, we're not gonna do anything with 589. It's just gonna die. So, yeah, like it was sent to the Senate, yeah. Now, one other thing, we still have about 10 bills to do to do this same type of procedure on. What I'm looking at is maybe the 3rd week of April. We will send out to all members of the committee a request. We will send out about 3 or 4 dates. We need you to respond to which dates are best for you, and we will go with how the majority is. If your bill is being presented, you need to be here. That's the posture of the committee right now, is that we will be sending out dates to the committee for recommendations on when, and we will try to get all of these done in one sitting. Even if it takes 2 hours or 3 hours, we might have to break for lunch. I don't know, but some of you live a good distance away, and we don't need y'all traveling, several days up here. So we're gonna try to get them all done in one day. Representative Green.
Is this a joint?
It is not.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Do I have any questions from anybody in the audience? Any comments? We're adjourned.